Welcome back to another episode of DEGN Talk. I'm your host, Jack, and today I have an old friend of mine, Matthew from Ryze. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, Jack. Great to be here. Good to see you
Good
again.
stuff. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. You've been moving the markets, man. You've been moving the space, man. Please introduce yourself and Ryze Labs.
Sure, I'm Maddie from Ryze. We've been investing in crypto for some years now, including such projects as Solana, Layer Zero, and companies like Wintermute. Our superpower, so to speak, is being able to invest all around the world, but then help our portfolio companies in emerging markets from Latin America to Southeast Asia and a lot of cool places in between. And of course, portfolio companies find that tremendously valuable because, as you can imagine, if you're in Berlin or San Francisco or Jakarta and you're looking to build out your business, you can't become an emerging markets expert at the same time. So we have a team of experts all under one roof. Everyone is global, local, meaning an expert in a specific emerging market, as well as with finance and technology expertise as well, four skill sets.
Awesome, awesome. So I've heard you've been doing a lot in the AI world, right? And you have like a very exciting AI product launch coming up. Maybe introduce us to the world of Amiko?
Sure, we were pretty skeptical at first about the intersection of crypto and AI. We really wanted to understand what the organic fit was, although we did believe in the long term thesis that a world of AI agents involves these AIs all transacting with each other, and that crypto would probably be a natural fit for that mechanism of transaction. But it took a while for us to really feel like the AI crypto moment was here. And that moment for us when we decided to become very actively involved in AI was AI agent season, which of course had a lot of hype and a cooling down, but we think does have a long term importance that is quite significant. And we see that the market seems to believe that as well with the staying power of virtuals as one example. But at any rate, we think that this world is going to be a world of both hardware and software, and we especially were interested in the intersection of the two with respect to crypto and AI. We have always felt that uh, hardware in many ways is underrepresented in our industry, despite the Bitcoin mining sector, which is kind of a separate animal. But that leads us to Amiko, which we were pretty excited, which we continue to be super excited about. Amiko is a or an orchestration layer, I think is a good way to describe it. So Amiko allows for bringing the world of AI agents to physical devices, to hardware. And it can do that both for a specific AI agent, your AI agent of choice, but even more importantly, it can do that with a swarm of AI agents. And here's why we think that is particularly significant. Number one, if you are bullish on AI agents in the way that many people are, including us, you can easily imagine that we're going to be using a wide variety of AI agents all throughout our life. But the issue then becomes, is this going to be like apps where we have 5,000 of these things? How are we going to manage all of these AI agents? And so the Amiko, again, it's an orchestration layer, so it's a kind of conductor, and the orchestra is all the different AI agents, and it allows for them all to work seamlessly together. And then specifically, it can even provide a common look and feel, so you can be interacting with just one in just one way rather than having to learn all about all these AI agents. And so specifically for the first hardware device from Amiko, it's called the Kick, as in sidekick. So the Amiko Kick specifically features Eliza as the common look and feel. And so what will happen then with the Amiko hardware layer as they roll out their product suite is that when you ask a question to an Amiko hardware device, the orchestration layer will analyze the nature of your question and route it to the appropriate AI agent under the hood, potentially thousands, whether it's an AI agent for handling your email or whether it's an AI agent for doing some kind of shopping function. It sends it to the right one. In a matter of microseconds, it makes this analysis of where to route it, like routing an email or routing the postal mail. And you don't even have to be aware as a consumer about all this happening behind the scenes, because probably why would you, unless, I mean, if you're a geek like me, maybe you want to learn more. But for most people, they probably don't even want to know. So in a matter of seconds, it routes it to the AI agent that's most appropriate, sends it back, and it flows through Eliza again. And in this way, you always have a kind of common interface again, and rather than as an alternative having to have a roster of thousands and thousands of AI agents for all different purposes and all kinds of apps and many, many things. So that's first and foremost why we're excited about Amiko, because of this orchestration layer technology. But then also, it was so interesting because the OpenAI announcement recently validated our second thesis, which is why we're also interested in Amiko. And our second thesis is that AI will be part of our lives in multiple ways. For example, it will be embedded in all kinds of applications. It'll be in Microsoft Office, it'll be in Gmail, it'll be in all those things in many, many ways. But also that it is such a powerful technology that it will necessitate a third device. And what I mean by third device is your desktop or laptop, let's call that one bucket, one device. You're probably, I mean, maybe I am, but most of us are probably not using both at the same time. So that's why I call it one device. But then you also have your phone as a second device, and then you have AI hardware as your third device. We believe that it will be so important as to necessitate a third device rather than merely being something that's embedded in everything else or lives as an app on your phone. So, point being that the Amiko orchestration layer is also being featured with a line of hardware. The first one, again, is the Kick, which is a small device that's about 50 well, I have one. I actually have a prototype right here. So
I was
it's
going to
my,
say, show us the
yeah,
device.
for sure. So this is about 50% bigger than an AirPods case. So it's super convenient. You can put it in your pocket. You can wear it around your neck if you're at the gym or wherever. And and so again, we think that AI and you interact with it via voice, and also there's an app as well. So it's a physical device, but it works with your phone too, which I think is important because probably there are two approaches. Approach number one is where you could have many features of a phone on the device. You could put a really nice camera in here and all kinds of things like that. That's probably one approach, but to me that's um, probably duplicating functionality because you're definitely still going to have your phone, in my view. So the alternative is that you have the hardware device, you interact with it via voice, and then also you have an app on your phone, which means that you can be using the phone's camera and things like that. So that's a lot about Amiko and some of the ways, some of the examples in which we're pretty excited about people being able to have AI hardware with them on the go, such that they can have like a little AI buddy that feels almost like a real person. That's all also helping them get things done in the real world through NPC and other types of functionality.
So, Maddie, tell us more about the orchestration layer, right? And you mentioned Eliza. That's Eliza Wakes Up, right? How does that kind of integrate into the whole Amiko ecosystem?
Sure. So the orchestration layer again is for routing a user's query to the right AI agent. Eliza then provides the common look and feel. Eliza, the full name is Eliza Wakes Up, is a beautiful project. We're also an investor in Eliza, but I quite like Eliza because they went in a different direction than many AI agents, and I think it's a really beautiful direction. Many of the Web3 AI agent projects added stock analysis or crypto token analysis type functionality. Eliza stayed in one lane that no one else has really focused on, and I think they did a wonderful job. And the lane that they focused on is developing the deepest, richest character that feels most vividly as if you're talking to an actual human being. And they did that in a wonderful way, which is why when Amiko was trying to make a decision about what the common look and feel, the common UI should be for all these AI agents that can be part of the Amiko ecosystem, it was just such an obvious choice for me to suggest that Eliza be that common look and feel. So it's named after the famous AI project from the late 1960s at MIT, I think it was. So there's a rich history to the name as well. But they've done the best job of creating an AI that vividly feels like almost like a real person, a character with a backstory and hobbies and all kinds of personality.
Yeah, what you mentioned earlier, I think I agree. When we have an app on the phone, there's so much noise on your phone because there's so many things on the phone, right?
Yeah.
It's not, and also the AI itself is not personal, right? There's no kind of personal connection. You don't have a personal connection to a device. And I think having Amico that's separate there to be your companion and your assistant that remembers everything you do would be the next step in this evolution, right? Um, I would love to know about the synergy between AI and Web3, right? Because I understand Amico has a Web3 component as well.
Sure. So I've always felt like one of the most powerful and a little bit underutilized aspects of Web3 is the ability to bootstrap and incentivize adoption and communities and things like that, as well as, of course, gamification, which has been explored a little bit more. And so, one aspect of Web3 for Amico is to be able to create bootstrap community. But additionally, there's really a wide variety of facets here. So the second thing it is a deep-in device. So you do get incentivized for using the device, and eventually you can even perhaps get incentivized for opting in to be able to contribute your data for research purposes if you so choose. But more of a have to have would be that, again, we talked about how there's a universe of AI agents that can be on the Amico hardware platform and on the physical devices. And so being able to have Amico be Web3 allows for incentive payments to go to all those varied AI agents. So we talked at the very beginning of this conversation about how crypto is a natural fit for AI to AI transactions. And so this is a beautiful example of that. Anytime someone uses an AI agent, again, they don't even have to necessarily know that they're using any specific AI agent because it all flows through Eliza. But if your query or your interaction is being routed to a specific AI agent, well, again, remember you are earning through virtue of being part of the ecosystem. So you're earning Amico tokens, but then a portion goes to you and a portion goes to the AI agent that you're interacting with behind the scenes, whether you realize it or not, because it's abstracted to some extent. So there's a whole economic system with the Amico orchestration layer and the hardware devices that really would not have been realistic, or at least not really would not have been pragmatic without Web3 Rails, in my view. There are probably a couple other aspects as well where Web3 comes into play, but those are three of the most prominent planks.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, we've seen deep in projects before in Web3, right?
Of course.
Not many of them have no use cases. It's really for them to take advantage of that narrative, right? But this is the first time we have something physical and tangible that you can touch, that you can feel, that you can actually have it be useful to you, right? In more ways than not, right? In your daily lives, in the things that you do, etc. So I think this is definitely something that's very real. Yeah. Um,
Sure, I think it's important that you start with something that people would want to be using anyway, and that it's super fun and valuable in and of its own right. But then if you make it a deep-in device, again, first of all, that makes um, the adoption story probably cycle faster. You get more traction faster because of these powerful incentive mechanisms. But then again, you can have a much richer economy around your business model as well. Using Web3 Rails is one of the most
yeah.
interesting ways to use Web3.
So what sets Amiko apart from what is on the market right now and what is likely to come in the future?
Sure. So, what's on the market right now consists of early examples of this product category. So it's basically like smart watches back in the day where I remember I had the Pebble, which was one of the world's first smartwatches. Apple hadn't yet entered that product category with the Apple Watch. It's kind of reminiscent of that. It's very early days. Obviously, the OpenAI announcement signals the fact that this is going to be a very serious product category with very serious competitors. We believe that, as with most product categories, it's going to have multiple winners. One reason that we are quite confident in the Amiko team, by the way, is because of their extremely strong hardware background. Members of the engineers on the Amiko team are from some of the leading hardware companies in Asia, many of which would be familiar to your viewers. That's number one. Plus, also, in terms of the early devices in this product category that are on the market, one of the biggest issues that has prevented them from getting more traction than they have is latency issues, and Amiko has really made great strides in that regard in terms of being able to have a device that you can interact with in real time rather than having to wait 4 or 5 seconds between each interaction. So we're pretty excited about that as well. Yeah, so those are some of the differentiating factors with Amiko. By the way, one thing that I would add too, one of the most exciting things is this is not, well, a lot of times we talk about in this industry how what we're really looking for is products that are for regular consumers, regular people, rather than crypto degens and such. And so one of the reasons that we were most excited is that we're so excited about Amiko is that this is for regular people. Um, when I showed over the phone, I showed my mother and my sisters, and they were able to interact with the device, and it was easy to imagine them using it in real life. And in fact, it was something that they were pretty excited about. That's not the same experience I have when I'm trying to explain to them what a DEX is and things like that. So it's really exciting to imagine people using the Amico device and interacting with Eliza to do things like language study, or if they're at the gym, to be able to keep track of their workouts, or to use for translation functionality in a meeting, or when the full MPC functionality is rolled out, it'll be a very natural fit for people to interact with Eliza and ask questions like, hey, overnight while I was sleeping, what are my three most important emails? Or can you look up that contract from a couple years ago? I can't find it. Because Eliza with the Amico hardware is your buddy that helps you get things done. And that's for regular people all around the world. So we're pretty
Yeah,
excited for
when I first saw your amount when I first saw the Amico announcement, I envisioned that, like having it just on you, and then it would be literally you can just ask it things and it would answer it for you, right? We are living in the world that we are curious about everything, right? And then there's way, and then with that, it will answer everything for you without you touching your phone, right? Because when you touch your phone,
sure.
you get sidetracked, and then you just end up right? You end up somewhere else, right? When you touch
Oh,
your phone.
that's true, but also the fact that that the AI gets to know you over time to the point where after a few weeks of interactions, it almost feels like you're talking to someone that's known you for years. And then if you choose to use the NPC hook such that it's interfacing now with again, your email and your Uber and all kinds of different things. Well, now you have a friend that's helping you that's with you all the time. You can be on your phone and you on your phone doing stuff, and you say to your friend, "Hey, can you call me a cab?" Something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
so to be able to have someone that knows you super well and feels like a friend that's helping you get things done throughout the day, we think is a pretty powerful paradigm.
Yeah, our lives are now so convoluted with different technology and stuff, with different apps and stuff. Like sometimes as simple as getting a cab, you have to swift through your phone numerous of times,
Yeah.
right? And click on different things, and then this would just solve that immediately. Really, really exciting. So what is the roadmap, future roadmap of 6 to 12 months roughly, that we
Sure.
have?
So my understanding from the Amiko team is the Kick is the first of several hardware devices that will use Miko's groundbreaking orchestration layer. It's rumored that there might be an AI brain, which is a more powerful device that you would kind of keep on your desktop. And I think that the most exciting thing, probably too, is that robust MPC feature rollout where they'll be developing these hooks one by one to be able to interface with all your other applications that you use in your digital life one by one. Should you choose, you can opt in to giving your Kick or your brain access to these functions, such that when you talk to Eliza, she can help you do even more stuff.
Awesome. So Amiko is ultimately an ecosystem, right? And you mentioned things like plugins, etc. So how will Amiko kind of communicate with other AI agents, right? Talking about future integrations and what are some of the best use cases for this?
Sure. So the beautiful thing is, from a user standpoint, you don't have to know, it's all abstracted. But what happens is that any open source AI agent can be onboarded by the Amico team, and then other AI agents can opt into the ecosystem. Of course, keep in mind that they would get token rewards if they're part of the Amico ecosystem. But basically, it's have you ever seen in the movies back in the day how in like the man, I don't know, the 1950s, the 1930s, maybe 1930s or 1920s, how they had the telephone switchboard and
Mm,
there'd be people sitting there with all the plugs and things like
yeah.
that. So the Amico orchestration layer has a similar functionality, right? So when somebody talks to Eliza, the Amico orchestration layer is routing the request to the right AI agent, just like those people did in the movies. And then it gets the answer, and then it routes back, and it comes back through Eliza. From a user perspective, it feels like you're just interacting with Eliza, but on the back end, all these different AI agents are accomplishing functionality for the user. And then to your point about what kinds of functionality, well, the amazing thing is that the sky's the limit because AI is going to be embedded in so many different things, and there will be rails for all these different aspects. Really, there's the potential for it to permeate all throughout a person's digital life to the extent that they choose to opt into that.
If I was a dev and I wish to build plugins for Amiko, will we have like a full set of SDKs and docs and stuff eventually that we can leverage and use?
Yep, that's in the works. Lower the
Awesome.
friction as much as possible, for sure.
Yeah. So what are some of the direct use cases for Amiko that you would expect people to do and use Amiko for?
Sure. So we talked about, for example, translation, and we talked about being able to answer questions like what are the most important emails that I received overnight, which, if you think about it, is actually a question that involves a high degree of context. That's not a question that is necessarily easy for a machine to answer normally. It doesn't know what type of things or what type of people you find valuable unless you've had a specific kind of interaction before. But what's exciting about the AI applications is that with the Amiko hardware device, with the Amiko technology in conjunction with Eliza, they're actually developing a kind of digital twin, a digital representation of you over time. Actually, in the Amiko universe, because they make it super fun, as I understand it, your digital twin will be represented by a genetically modified kind of like
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
monster
whoa, whoa. We're going
universe.
to Westworld stuff right now, Maddie, right? I
Yeah.
would love,
Well, no, because
please
they make it fun.
elaborate.
They make it kind of like a
Please
game.
elaborate on digital
So
twin. Please elaborate.
there's a kind of Tamagotchi feature set, and basically rather than just having a digital twin that looks exactly like you, it's like alternate universe genetically modified monster version of a person. They make it kind of fun, but um, the point is that you're developing an AI agent that is your digital representation that can then act on your behalf to the extent you give it permission to do so and help you get things done. So you can imagine, I mean, not just things like triaging your email, but you can imagine one use case that people have speculated about, for example, is with online dating, where where your digital twin could do a kind of first pass, and if you had 100 matches or something like that, they could narrow it down to the top 5 or 10 that are most suitable for you, which requires, of course, a deep understanding of your tastes and preferences and things like that. So your digital twin could talk to another person's digital twin, and they could decide if they hit it, to what extent they hit it off as a kind of first pass, things like that. Or if you can even imagine your digital twin could help you with shopping, they would have to have a keen understanding of what the people that are important to you in your life are like, what they're all about, what their tastes and preferences are, such that your digital twin can go on Amazon and start shopping for, for your siblings or whatever. So there are lots of interesting cases like that where being able to have AI agents that are super understanding of your needs and what you're all about and what your life is all about can be enormously beneficial for helping to get stuff done.
Oh yeah, definitely. You've just mentioned one episode of Black Mirror. So what if the digital twin takes over me, right? What if the girl that I'm trying to date falls in love with my digital twin instead of me? What would I do then, Matthew?
Is that something that you're worried about? That sounds like a skill issue.
It is a skill issue indeed. We should all do better, right? What a visionary. Yeah,
Kidding.
digital twin idea from Miko, right? Um, I cannot wait to get myself a device like this, right? What would I do to order this? Like, what's when does it officially launch? What
Sure,
are we doing?
the pre-order window is opening soon, and the Kick device will be shipped as early as the 1st of July.
Awesome. And any upcoming campaigns that you can share to people that's watching? Any kind of alphas that you can share to people, to watchers of DEGN Talk?
Sure, my understanding is the Amico team, in partnership with the Eliza team, will be having a couple kind of promotional and awareness type campaigns coming up. So I guess we'll all have to look forward to seeing the details of those.
What are some of the key partners that's involved in making Amiko?
Sure, one of the most significant partners for Amico is EdgeX, which is a partnership that provides hardware expertise, Asian market expertise, and critical aspects of the Amiko orchestration layer IP. So that one's enormously important. It's a skilled team of Asia hardware professionals that that have been instrumental to Amiko. And of course, we talked about another partnership, which is with Eliza, which provides the unique look and feel of the Amiko flagship hardware, the Kick, which is coming out pretty soon.
Awesome. Very cool. Maddie, thank you so much for your time. And for my audiences, please go on Amiko's website, which I will link in the Twitter below, and follow Amiko for all up and coming updates, including pre-order dates and pre-order campaigns. Matthew, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great
See you
to catch
later.
up. See you.